Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being your show, it's about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of the Endgame. Great episode, a lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So immediately picking up in the events, in the aftermath of last episode, we have Fort Totem being shut down, and it's basically running on backup power that's basically been running there since, what was it, the Cold War or something like that. So not in the best situation, and obviously everything's pointing towards it seeming like this is all connected to Snow White, that they're trying to bust Elena out. But I think Elena likes where she is because it's all part of her plan to be where she is, being the mastermind, so far out of reach while everyone's doing their thing, all the pieces to the puzzle that immediately my brain last episode was like, oh, it's got to be the Bellocs coming after her. Like, you're going after one too many people connected to him. Literally everyone in the photo has been dealt with, and this episode revolves around the final person whose face is hidden, the Ghost. Essentially someone that did wet work for the CIA until I think he got dropped because the last time he was around, based on what the director ends up saying, is he killed like 2 Marines or something like that. But a guy comes in, pretty much killed everyone that was there. He knew exactly what time to strike because it was like the shift. It was in between shifts. Because the skeleton crew, there was only like a skeleton crew of like less than half a dozen people. It was like 7 people there in total. So he picked the right time to strike, and for him to have access to the layout of the place, because essentially it's stuff that at first they're like, oh, is he going by like a map from the Cold War? But it actually goes back even further. I think then they said like some of them like during the Cold War they worked on the building even more. So there's actually some access tunnels that lead around. So that's how he's able to literally go and disappear into vents and stuff. But I thought was really interesting, jumping around a little bit. First and foremost, the fact is, he definitely knows more about what Elena's up to, because he's like, wow, you're trying to protect this woman. Do you know what she's up to? It's like, oh, she's removed some very, very bad people, but Elena made sure to try and take him out before he can run his mouth, because she doesn't want Valerie to know too soon about what she has planned. Yes, she's trying to gain Valerie's trust, and she even says, I've never lied to you. I've withheld information from you, but which, once again, that's a technicality because it's a lie of omission. But I think it might be a thing of Elena needs Valerie more on her side. I need us to be more on you, to understand more and more why I'm doing this. Because once again, her point has always been, if I told you the truth from the beginning, you wouldn't listen. So she probably has a very drastic measure of how to deal with the Bellocs, and they're so integrated with the U.S. government that's probably like, I'm probably going to have to dismantle some of the hierarchy in your government just for the purposes of taking down the Bellocs. But she might have further endgame later on down the road of doing a lot more catastrophe. There might be more catastrophic fallout from her actions that might affect the country. She might be getting her revenge while also benefiting in the long. It seems like, I'm not trying to say she's a white knight in some shape or form, but I don't think she has the most destructive end result. I think this is just legitimately about, I am a bad person. I am an arms dealer. I am all this and that, weapons dealer and such, but I am getting revenge. This is all about getting revenge on the people who hurt those close to me, my family, killing my husband's family, my mother-in-law, who was like a mother to me. So I don't know. It could simply be like, oh, I do have some nefarious stuff that's like super bad that Valerie wouldn't agree with, because yeah, I'm all about revenge, but post-revenge, I've got other plans in play. Or it is just, like I said, a thing of she needs Valerie to, like, she needs to get Valerie there. It's like, I need to kind of take you there step by step, because if I throw you in there, it's going to go from 0 to 100, and you're not ready for that. And it's going to destroy and disrupt whatever I have planned, because I need you to slowly get there to wanting to kind of work with me, choosing to work with me. It needs to kind of be your choice. So, we'll see. I just thought that was such an interesting thing that she made sure to step off the plate just then and there because she didn't want her plans spoiled. But another thing, the moment like there was rummaging in like the air vents or something, I'm like, that's got to be Anthony. Because I'm like, if that was Home Dude, would he really make it so noticeable? Because wouldn't he have heard like, oh, I mean, maybe through the vents he couldn't hear as much, but he would know that you were going to set up a trap. Like you knew that he was going to head to that room that Elena's normally held in. So that's why I guess like, right, everything is kind of muffled. And it's not like they're talking loud. They're probably talking at a normalish volume that probably doesn't penetrate through those vents. I don't know. But I'm assuming that was probably, like at that time that they heard that noise, I was like, oh, that's got to be Anthony. And lo and behold, like the moment they're setting up the trap and everything, I'm like, the person that's going to come down is going to be Anthony, of course. And lo and behold, it is in fact Anthony. I was like, oh, your timing sucks, especially because they're like, cool, we could give you maybe like a 4-second window before this landmine goes off. And it's like, right, you better sprint as fast as you can because the effect is going to be at least maybe a 6-foot radius, maybe, so. But obviously they had other elements to kind of contend with. Louis went toe-to-toe with the ghost and ended up getting stabbed. And director Riel ends up helping him, and obviously Louis' fiance is reluctant because she's like, right, given the opportunity, you'll probably kill him, but it's like, regardless of what you think, Valerie says that director Riel and me, you guys are under our custody, so we are going to treat you with respect. Yes, that's the thing. They're not Doak. Doak, given the opportunity, if this was him, oh, for sure he'd let Louis die. Because he's like, yeah, you deserve to die. But, you know, it's like, right. I think they're conflating the system they're fighting so hard against with the people who are there. Because even Rial is kind of like, wow, I'm surprised with your dedication. True believers in the cause. And Louis' fiance is like, yeah, we're just like you. You believe in the system so much. But now you're starting to see the cracks in it. That it's not all that you thought it was. And that's the point of opening. His eyes have been open to this. Valerie's eyes have been open to this. I think Anthony's has as well. Doak is keeping his eyes a little shut because, once again, he's a kind of a douchebag opportunist because the entire time is like, yo, we're trying to reach you about some stuff going down. And where is he? He's sitting down with the chief of staff. Dude, sucking up to her so hard because it's like, yeah, because at no point did he go, oh, thank you, man, but actually it was a team effort. Oh, he made sure to suck up all that glory because the moment Valerie, it was supposed to be Valerie and him before, like, obviously it was like 2 or 3 episodes ago. I thought it was probably like more like, yeah, probably like 2 episodes ago that they were supposed to sit down with her after the federal bank gold situation. But he sat there and like, oh, thanks, man, and kind of sucked up all the glory because he didn't have to share it with her. And now the chief of staff is like, yo, like, we want you to kind of be our point person. And it's like, yeah, but what about director Rial? And it's like, yeah, but you're more on boots on the ground, and that's kind of what we need. And at first, I couldn't tell whether like, oh, are you loyal to him? And you're going like, right, I'm going to tell him what's what, and I'm not going to have his job taken from him. But he also has that smug look, almost like, yeah, this is what I want. I'm going to be in a powerful enough position. I don't really 100% trust her because she is asking him about the Bellocks, but he's also like in a lot of the dark about all this stuff too. He only gets informed about stuff when it's necessarily pertinent. But part of me was wondering, like, was that chief of staff lady like just testing the waters? I mean, because it seems like all the major players involved have been taken care of. Because even the ghosts got this episode. Quite the pretty impressive teamwork between Elena and Valerie, like just like snapping his neck with those handcuffs. But all the people in that picture are dead, but I think obviously Elena still has a long way to go because removing a lot of people who are under the Belloc's control, now it kind of lowers their defenses, and now I think a more direct attack is available to Elena and Snow White when it comes to going up against the Belloc's. But I just love that Doak was gone like most of the episode, you know, like feeling himself, and lo and behold, he shows up. He's like, yeah, what happened here wouldn't have happened if that wasn't for Elena. How you blaming her? Because I guess because maybe he's trying to justify, like, oh, she went after all these people, she set this all in motion by doing that. If she wasn't here in the first place, like, it's like, shut up. What were you doing? You were doing nothing. They were the ones holding stuff down. Anthony came here, like, checked on things. You couldn't be reached because you're so busy furthering your own career. but you know he's going to be an issue because I love Riel was like, yeah, I'm going to find out. We're going to get a full account of what you were up to and why no one could get in contact with you. And it's like, yeah, given the opportunity now that it's been set up, I'm sure he's going to take that opportunity to get that job from the chief of staff to be that. Essentially, he's going to overstep Director Rial, and I think that way he won't have to suffer any ramifications. You probably also don't want to be seen as the schemy person you are, where it's like, yeah, I met with the chief of staff and I didn't want anyone to know, because he made it clear, like, yeah, I got something to take care of. I don't want to be bothered by anybody. It's like, okay, things could have gone super sideways and your help could have been severely used in this circumstance, but it's also like, I think in the long run it's better he wasn't there, considering everything with Louis and his fiance. I think Doka would have done some douchebag stuff. I think Director Rial would have still done the right thing, but the problem is Doka has a way to, I think he would have been able to get into Rial's ear to tell him not to do the right thing in certain regards. I'm just like, Doka is in that douchebag territory for me right now. He's just kind of on my shit list, so that's why I just have no faith in that dude, that character. I'm just like, oh, he's such a schemer, and he's going to eventually get what's his. Now, whether he ends up dead or not, or whether he just ends up getting fired, and that still might be a thing of, well, I might get fired or I might get demoted. Kind of, in his mind, he's already kind of gotten demoted because he's kind of basically got to take orders from Valerie, and she's looking like she's the one that had a cloud above her head, but now with everything going on, she's looking like the golden child, and he's kind of fallen out of favor. So he's going to take every opportunity to reclaim his position of the golden boy again, But I really liked a lot of the Elena and Valerie stuff this episode. Just like, oh yeah, kind of like a sleepover. And it's like, this is not a sleepover. It's like, yeah. Even like, oh, friend braces. See, it's more like it is more like a sleepover and such. But Valerie's like, right, you must not have really had many friends. And she kind of comments on, no. I mean, we've seen a tiny bit of her in her younger years, whether that was her as like a preteen or teenager when that girl tried to kill her. It's like, that's a pretty rough situation to grow up in, and it's just probably been a fight for survival ever since. So she's probably never had any form of a normal childhood. And we find out about Natalia, the person that ended up helping her. And she had commented at the beginning, like, right, this is someone you can't necessarily trust. Well, it kind of brought up trust issues in her, because Valerie is saying, like, what happens if you let your guard down even for a minute? Like, why? You're always thinking, you're always scheming, you're always planning, like, you're always on edge. But what if you let your guard down? She's like, then the CIA sends someone to kill me. So, like, yeah, with her position, she can't ever let her guard down, and she let her guard down with Natalia, this person who wormed her way into your life. You didn't see it coming because Sergey wasn't around. You were looking after your baby by yourself. You were stressed. You were worried, thinking you weren't a good enough mother. And I was almost thinking, to an extent, at first, partway through the episode, I was like, oh, is that why her baby isn't with her? Did she give her baby with Natalia, leave her baby with Natalia? It's like, no, Natalia ended up not being who she thought she was. And so it's like, cool, you were going to wait till the entire family got here and killed us. Which Natalia is like, honestly, the time we spent together, I really enjoyed it. It's kind of a shame. And then we get the reveal at the end that Natalia is actually Lady Belloc. So, interesting parallel between these three different ladies, kind of, Elena's the head of Snow White, Natalia, it's probably not even a real name, but we just refer to her as Lady Belloc because that's the name that was given to her. So is she the one that kind of has to take over her family's legacy and such? So the kingdom and everything that they built up, the question is, why does she have it out for Elena? Like, why did they come after her? Like, I guess it's like we're rivals in this situation, and they basically positioned themselves. They're probably the movers and shakers behind the scenes. Like, whether it's just the U.S. government or whether they've got other governments and other officials in other countries in their pockets, it's unclear. They definitely have. They're definitely connected to the U.S. hierarchy of, like, in the government and such. But beyond that, and who knows how long this goes back. Like, was that why? Well, because we know at least there's a connection, because Elena and her family, like, that was over. I don't remember if they ever said when that wedding was. That was over a decade ago, wasn't it? Or maybe it was a little less than that. I don't remember if they ever put like a time frame in it, because we know she gave birth like a little after 2018. No, because that picture was from like over 10 years ago. So I believe so. That picture, the picture was like from like a decade ago. So the church getting attacked was around that time. So I'd assume they positioned themselves in that. Just my point is, like, how far back have the Bellocks had their hands in all these pockets and stuff like that? And I'm sure it never crossed. Well, because she also made it clear when she was talking to Sergei, it's like, right, I don't work with them, they work for me. And I guess that should have made it clear of like, right, she's the top brass. Whether there's other family members she has to answer to, like her mom and dad or something like that, who's still alive, or is she the only member of her family left that the reign and control is fully hers? Is she potentially all that's left of the Belloc bloodline, the kind of royalty that they are? Like, is she the only living member left? And maybe that's the same thing, which I guess draws even deeper comparisons and parallels between Elena, Sergei, and her. Because, I mean, technically, Elena's not alone because she has their child. Same thing for Sergei. Like, he has their child. And, well, they're family in general, so it's like, right, but they're the last of their family. So, I think I made this reference before. I think I made the comparison of wondering, is this going to be kind of like NCIS Los Angeles, where Callan, his family's, like, there was a blood feud between two families, and that Callan's kind of like, once again, it's been a long time since I've seen any NCIS Los Angeles, and I think I referenced this before, but the last time I saw it, that whole storyline was resolved, and he's the only surviving member of his family. Pretty much everyone on both sides are dead now, except for him. So I was wondering, is that what Elena and Lady Belloc's history is? Like, is it just like a long time gang family feud that has kind of escalated and grown into what it is now, to the point the Bellocks have amassed all this power, where Elena has too, but she's kind of had to hide in the shadows because the Bellocks have been coming after her and Sergei ever since. So, and now they also have that message that they translated that was meant to get sent to Elena through that, Morse code, and it was the lullaby that she used to sing to her baby. So now they know where the message was sent, and so it's like, right, there's a farmhouse somewhere, and it's like, right, we now know where Elena's baby is headed, and we see Elena look over there and then kind of turn back. So she is good at reading lips, so she probably read Valerie's lips at that moment. Maybe. She might not have been close enough, because she was kind of in her, like, the little container cell they have for her. She was sitting in that with the door open, so we don't know how much she was able to read from that far away. Because usually she's a little bit closer when she's reading their lips, so. At the same time all of this is happening, there's a whole situation in the prison where a fire starts, and you're like, the moment you hear about there being a fire, you're like, okay, so the arsonist dude, but to what purpose? Put everyone in the same room. The weasel dude is, no, not weasel, ferret. That dude is riling everyone up, trying to find his moment to strike, because he's trying to kill Sergei, because he's like, oh, you're trying to kill me? It's like, no, Sergei wanted to kill you, but Owen suggested he just remove you from the board. So he wasn't trying to kill you. If he wanted to kill you, he would have gotten you killed. He just wanted you out of the way, but the guy's like, no, I'm coming after you. And obviously neither one of them wanted him dead, because the moment, it's like, it was self-defense, but doesn't change anything. Now Owen, who accidentally killed the dude, now he's getting fully investigated, but until that time frame, he's going to be in solitary. So that kind of messes up that this is the worst case scenario that we're trying to avoid. So how they get around this, eventually word about this is going to get back to Valerie. So we'll see where things kind of headed from that direction. But it seems like the whole thing was orchestrated by Lady Belloc, because I guess they must know exactly what Elena's up to. Maybe they know about, because Natalia met Sergei, so she might know that, or Because I wondered, did someone reach out to the ferret dude and kind of orchestrate all this anyway? Put him in touch with the right person to make this happen? Or did he... I feel like there's no way he did that on his own. He had to have some backing, because we see that the warden... But I guess the warden wanted things to happen like that because Lady Belloc told him to. So she has to know that, Sergei and such, so... It also sucks, too, that she ended up leaving with the ring that, that Elena gave her all those years ago. It sucks. Well, because that was only, like, back in 2018. Still quite a few... Still, 3-4 years ago at present day, so... It was supposed to be a gift because it's like, right, it's the last thing she has to remember of her mother, and like to know that after all this time she still has it on. Because probably from Lady Belloc's perspective, it's like, right, I did legitimately enjoy our time together, and I think it's a nice reminder, but it's also a middle finger of like, right, I took the last thing that is so important to your family, and I'm still wearing it almost like a badge of honor or pride. So, constant reminder of who she's fighting and what she's up against, I guess. That's definitely really interesting. Luckily, everything, really quickly, too, with Louis okay. Luckily, the power cut back on just in time because they didn't have the power necessary, but it all worked out in the end, so. It's definitely going to be interesting to see where all of this ends up taking us going forward into the next episode. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.